Good morning to everybody present here. I begin with a short prayer. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Murugan for inviting me to deliver this session. Immensely grateful to you, sir. And thank you, Mr. David, also for being here. So can I please begin the presentation?
Ma'am, we would like to introduce you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yes, okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
So we'll start the session. So good morning, participants. So I welcome you all for the second session of day 3 of our AICTE ISTE sponsored refresher program on value-based education system. Today we have Professor Vinata Sai from Amrita University, Chennai. He is going to talk on promoting excellence in learning. So I request Mr. Amos David to introduce Professor Vinata Sai to the participants.
Good morning, one and all. I'm extremely happy to introduce Dr. Vinata Sai, madam. Dr. Vinata Sai currently serves as the chairperson of Science and Humanities and associate professor and research guide in the Department of English, School of Engineering, Amrita Vidyapitham, Chennai campus. In her career spanning over 24 years, besides teaching English language and literature, she has also headed committees, delivered guest lectures, organized events, presided over functions, and conducted and judged competitions in schools and colleges in Chennai. She has received the Vocational Excellence Award from the Rotary Club of Madras East in 2005. Dr. Vinata Sai is an avid quizzer. She has won several quizzes since her school days. She also conducts quizzes in schools and colleges. She has served as an expert on Tamil Colors TV program Kodishwari in December 2019. We are very happy to have you, ma'am. The session is yours. Ma'am, you're on mute. Ma'am, can you unmute yourself, ma'am? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Professor David, for that wonderful introduction. Yes, and so if I can share my screen now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible for us.
Screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I hope it's fine now. Okay, now this is something that I would like the participants to do now. So they can just go to Answer Garden, and once they type in this number, so they will find out, I mean, they will be able to find this question, what is excellence? So I just want them to give their answers. I just thought, let me begin it in an interactive way.
Ma'am, do we have to download the app or something?
Nothing.
Just Google it, is it?
Yes. Are you able to find that?
There are a lot of answers that are coming up in that answer
Okay.
garden. Promoting excellence, we just type, ma'am. The characters are limited. There are only 20 characters.
20. Yes. I just wanted to keep it short.
So do we have to just type promoting excellence?
No. What it means,
Oh,
just one word or two words or something like that.
the main word that appears is cool, and it's
Cool.
been highlighted as 15,754 times.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Um, anything else? I mean, if people can also probably unmute and talk. Is there any provision for that?
Yes, everybody can talk, ma'am. There's
Oh,
no
okay.
restrictions on that. And many are in the colleges, I guess. So
Okay, I understand. Okay, fine. So let's proceed. So we were with the definition. So it is something about, excellence is always about being extremely good, like you excel in the sense you outperform others, you outwit others. So that is being exceptionally good. And what I wanted to bring to focus here is the word extreme merit. Okay. Now here is a picture, and I'm sure you're able to identify all of them. Now, these are a few of the people, who just came to my mind when I thought of excellence. Now, this is not just in learning. No, we are just talking about excellence generally here. So I'm sure you are able to find out, we have, of course, our Saint Thiruvalluvar, who our Professor Swaminathan also mentioned earlier. The next person, again, you must, I'm sure, be able to recognize Aryabhatta. So I didn't want to leave the ancients behind. And of course, something very recent, Magnus Carlsen, he's been time and again proving that there's nobody to outwit him, nobody to beat him in chess. Okay, and of course, from my own field, literary field, Shakespeare, well, of course, though that is highly debatable, still let's have that. And again, scientists here should be knowing Madame Curie, we have Kalpana Chawla, then second row, we have Einstein, Serena Williams from sport. I mean, there are so many other goats, that is all-time greats. Of course, we have Djokovic, Federer, and all that, but I think she's one lady who's held her forte. And of course, Newton, that's a fun kind of a pick. Then, of course, we have Swami Vivekananda, I think, who is a youth icon in our country. Uh, everything that he did, I think he wanted to do it excellently. So I have him here. Of course, P.T. Usha, one of the, I think, foremost women sportsmen, kind of, or sportswomen, I should say. Okay, so in our country, and M.S. Subbulakshmi. So of course, we have Beethoven, Mozart, and all of them. Yes. And how can I leave behind our former president, Sir Abdul J. Kalam? So he is there. And the other person is my favorite, actually, the person there, the bearded figure. Can anybody guess that person? I mean, I think all these illustrious people, so you can probably guess who that is. Any answers coming? Can anybody tell me if there are any answers? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any answers or shall we move? Okay. That is none other than the great Da Vinci. Okay. I think several prototypes are to his credit, right from helicopter and, so many other patents, I think. So one, I think a luminary, so we could say, a trailblazer, we could say. He led the Renaissance also, so a painter, sculptor, not just that, but again, also, highly scientific in his thinking. Okay. So all these people, I'm sure none of you here will challenge me when I say that they are all excellent in their own fields. So they have excelled in their own fields. Okay. But I have two other, visuals here. Now, one is Jack the Ripper, of course, you can see. And this, does anybody have any clue about this? I'm sure you all know. We all have watched this movie also. Any answers? Or you can unmute and tell me. Anybody? Okay. I don't know if there are answers. Professor David, are there any answers? Okay, the Zodiac Killer. So now they were also excellent in what they were also experts in what they did. When it comes to committing murders, he was an expert. Jack the Ripper evaded, being caught. And we still have theories about who the real Jack the Ripper was. That's the amount of expertise that was shown by him, this criminal, master criminal. Similarly, the other master criminal, the Zodiac Killer. Now, these were experts in their fields. But expertise does not suffice. Now, the topic here is promoting excellence. So while promoting excellence in learning, so we know that the first component is knowledge. So information, call it knowledge. Today there are different terms, of course. Probably we do not, kind of teach them. We rather share knowledge, or because today we are partners. No more, do we have this teacher and taught kind of principles. We are on equal footing today, because teaching, learning, when they have shifted, the paradigm has changed. We are talking about learner-centric, teaching. So learner-centric education. So knowledge is there, and knowledge, again, how long? Because today, just at our fingertips, we can just find information. So even there, I think many of us as teachers, we all know, especially online, how difficult it is for us to set question papers or administer, any kind of evaluation, because everything is available there and they can just Google and get it. Okay. So you can call it Google Baba or whatever you want. Okay. So it is all there. So only inside the classroom, so the confines of the classroom probably, at least there, the teachers, yes. So we do share information, we do impart some kind of knowledge. And today, of course, we have the generation, who are very, I would say that they're more advanced when it comes to gadgets. Okay, so staying online or being, browsing the web or whatever it is. So there again, so knowledge is available for them, yes. And knowledge is what will lead to expertise. So once we have sufficient knowledge, then we can call ourselves as experts in a particular field. But being an expert alone will not be enough. From expertise, one has to move towards excellence. So I hope, this is the kind of demarcation or kind of, uh, what would I say? The focus I would like to bring here is on excellence. Okay, so expertise alone is not enough. So when we teach our students, so when we are promoting education, we have to promote excellence in education or learning. Because being excellent has another side to it, an important side to it. And here I have down there ethics. So ethics plays a very important role. I'm sure most of you teach in engineering colleges here. So we have something called as professional ethics. So there we impart that also. That is something recent. And of course, NEP 2020 believes in wholesome development, holistic development of individuals. Whereas if you look at the Western education, they did have ethics in their curriculum much before students came even into college. Okay, so even doctors will have to take a course in ethics there. So it's something which is very important. But here, of course, we have started this. So, and it is a good thing that we have professional ethics, because without ethics, I think our expertise is not going to realize its potential. Excellence cannot be achieved with expertise alone. So excellence comes when the values are added to expertise. So when there is ethics there. So here, while talking about this, I would just like to go back in time. We have we had rather a very robust educational system in our own country. Okay, yes, there are historians who are divided in this opinion about calling this as a country, because probably they were divided into states earlier. Whatever it is, we talk about, all the states that are currently under India, okay, or that form India. So in ancient times, if we look at them, it could be Nalanda, it could be Vallabhi, it could be Sharada University. There are umpteen number of universities we can go. I'm not going to, go into the details of those universities. So we had one in Kanchipuram here, Kerala again we had. So everywhere, all parts of India, yes. So everywhere, we had universities, ancient universities, and we know how they were centers of excellence. Now today we have centers of excellence, COE, being accorded by the government. Now these were ancient universities that were centers of excellence. Now, how were they able to achieve this excellence? What did they do through their uh, education system? So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So Shravana is not merely hearing or listening. So we do listen. I mean, hearing is the first step. Listening is beyond hearing, because when we are listening, we hear intently. That is when it becomes listening. But Shravana goes one step further. Our ancients, that every term, that is why we say that what is there, I'm not going into, yes, there is a lot of unpleasantness about, languages not being accorded the status or anything. No, I respect each and every language. But here I would also like to point out that in Sanskrit, yes, every term was there for which we cannot find English equivalents exactly. So we cannot just say that Shravana was hearing or listening. So it goes beyond that. So when I say it goes beyond that, what does it mean? So Shravana is with listening with the heart. Now, that is where it is important. So you have not just the mind or the intellect, but also the heart that comes into play. So that is when, so listening with the heart. So in tune, you're in tune. So wherein the mind and the heart are not separate. So the faculties are not separate. So as a whole being, you are listening. So that is probably something, all of us have read about Vivekananda. So Vivekananda had exceptional powers. He had this photographic kind of memory. I'm sure many of you have read about this. Once he went to the library, and he borrowed an encyclopedia, and the next day he went and returned the encyclopedia. So the librarian, looked at him in disbelief. So he was wondering. So he asked Swami Vivekananda whether he wanted to, possess the book for a few more days so that he could read the whole thing. And then Swami Vivekananda, he kind of said that, how does he know that he kind of doesn't know everything? So he kind of knew everything in that book. That is what he said, because he had that photographic kind of memory. And how is that kind of memory possible without concentration, without focus? So Shravana is something which is happening, the whole being. I'm sure, yes, many of you may love cricket probably. There are many men here and women, yes. So whatever interests, we also women, I can't separate because we all love sports. I love sports. So when we watch a match, I think the whole being is involved there. So it's not just that you have your heart here and your mind is elsewhere. No. So we root for India to win. Yes, the kind of how people were disappointed when we lost to Pakistan. So that kind of the whole being. So Shravana is that kind of listening, that kind of, the whole body being in tune, okay, being in the process of listening. So you're attuned to it. And Manana is the next step. So after listening so well, so they would listen, okay, and then they would internalize it. It would become a part of, so Manana is where they keep repeating and make it, embed, we talk about embedded systems today. So embed it in their minds. So listen, and then next, of course, Manana. So they recall, and then it gets embedded. So internalizing, so memorizing, that kind of thing. Manana, and then Nididhyasana is where we talk about today's, we talk about Maslow's hierarchy and all that. So we talk about how we have to come from the bottom and then we have to go higher and higher. So we talk about the BTL level and all that in our educational system today. So where we want students to apply, to be able to critically evaluate things. So Nididhyasana is where after studying, after listening, after internalizing things, the student was free for interpretations. So he would, critically examine things, and then he would kind of, what is right, what is wrong. Then it was his call or her call. Yes, we also had Gargi and other scholars. So women were also there. So Nididhyasana is that. So we can see that today what we are doing, we are talking about the shift in focus in learning or educational system. What we are doing is going back to our ancient system. So excellence today is nothing new. This existed much earlier. And what we are trying to do is bring back that kind of lost glory. NEP 2020 is all about putting India there in the forefront. So that is, Atmanirbhar Bharat. There are so many schemes, and NEP 2020 is one of those schemes where India has to be at the forefront as far as education is concerned. So global leader in education, global excellence in education. That is what NEP 2020 is all about. So when you are trying to do this, is let us just recall that we had our ancients. There are so many of them. Yes, Aryabhatta was there. We had Charaka. Then we had there is that, of course, Kalidasa was one of those first literary personalities that we had. So many of these people. Yes, if we talk about Sushruta in medicine, even the Britishers wondered because they found out that Sushruta had performed surgery long before, Western medicine ever knew surgery. So how he did all that, so we discovered these things much later. It is still lost. There is still so much that is, kind of waiting to be unearthed. There is one person, one lady I would like to mention, a scholar. She's quite young, but she is, her dedication. She is Mrs. Kavya Valluri. She's a scholar. She has, studied abroad. She's a mechanical engineer by profession, hails from Hyderabad. She went abroad, and then now she's back in India, and she's promoting how ancient Indian system, she's talking about aero models and all that. So how they were much more advanced than current models. So she talks about, rockets and other things in ancient times in India. And it is baffling. It is kind of, unbelievable when we read that, when we listen to her. She talks about how it is mentioned, the texts are there, but we don't know. Sometimes that language is lost to us. Not everything, not everybody is able to understand what has been written there. And, there is even a particular shloka. And one thing we have to understand, shlokas doesn't mean, let us not just think that it is, religious coloring, we need not give it. It was masked that way because, religion, if you look at the West also, where were the first schools in the West? They were within the, I'm unable to interact. I don't know if somebody can answer, it will be fine. In the chat box or something. Okay. So the first schools were in the churches. So in the chat, so everywhere, if you see the fathers, okay, so they were the ones who taught. Of course, we had different subjects then. Philosophy was very important. Philosophy played an important role in education in ancient times. So that was something which everybody had to pass in a, while coming out of a college. Oxford is one of the most ancient universities we have. Oxford and Cambridge, both of them, right from the 10th or the 11th century, they have been existing. So even they are ancient seats of education. So yes, while we are talking about Nalanda, yes, we should also acknowledge, yes, China also they had, but then China also, we know that many people from India went to China and they were welcomed, their scholars were welcomed there by the kings, by the emperors, by the rulers. Yes, again, Oxford and Cambridge were there, Oxford first and then Cambridge. So all these centers of excellence were there. So when they were centers of excellence, values were a part and parcel of education. So they did not bifurcate or they did not differentiate values from education. So excellence was promoted through the various subjects, and along with them, values were also instilled. So we have to understand time and again that when we are teaching, so it is not just the subject that matters, but the humanistic point of view. Again, values about the society, the community that we live in. These things are also very important. So next comes knowing, understanding oneself. So everybody, right from Aristotle, Adi Shankaracharya, even in his Viveka Chudamani, he has mentioned that know thyself. Okay. So even in the Western concept, you have right from Aristotle, everybody has mentioned this. So understanding oneself is very important, which they gave a lot of importance to, which we are again trying, to focus on today. No more is psychological sir just an expert in the field, not just an expert. I think he is, he excelled in that field, I would say. So Professor Swaminathan spoke about, the psychological aspect. So we had a time when if somebody went to a psychologist, they were looked down upon. So these are things that, were not, uh, they did not meet with acceptance from the society. Today it is gone, especially we are living through this pandemic now. It is still not ended. We had a horrible second wave, and we are all hoping that the third wave doesn't come, though there people are telling that we may have the third wave now in February or whatever it is. We don't know, because like you have a googly being bowled in cricket, something like, we have a twist, just the year is about to end, and then we have this Omicron, which is new. They say it evades. They say that, immunity, probably we do not know. Okay, there are so many things that are being studied about it. So we live in a world where psychological well-being is also important. So today, during these pandemic times, we know that everybody has to be emotionally stable. So we talk about stress. So we talk about relieving that stress. So, and for that, we need to understand ourselves. Unless and until we understand ourselves, we will not be able to come to terms with the problems that we face. Highly advanced. Yes, these ancient educational universities were advanced. They fostered the spirit of inquiry and interrogation, very important for us in learning. So when we as teachers should not stifle the students. We should not, I was shocked the other day, one of famous institutes, again, a colleague has joined from that institute, and a particular branch, when she was, so being an English faculty, so she was telling that uh, when she went to a class, the class was, so silent. We talk about pin drop silence. So there was no interaction at all. And then she kept prodding them, and then she kept telling them that it is okay to ask questions. And then students asked them, is it all right? Can we ask questions? Which age are we living in? So there is, that kind of a general belief in that particular department that students should not question while they are being taught. I know that this is not the norm, that all of us as faculty, we do understand, what our responsibilities are. And this is just probably one different case. Yes, I do understand that, but then we'll have to be aware of this. So we have to be careful. We need to draw out, pull out, we need to get them out of their cocoon. So we have to, when they ask us questions, we have to encourage them. Even if we do not know the answers, we need not know all the answers. Yes, we will not know all the answers. We can tell them that we will get back with the answer. There's nothing wrong in accepting that. So I think as teachers, we should promote the spirit of inquiry and interrogation and challenging conventions. All these will also be coming later. Yes. So today's youngsters, especially, they know how to challenge conventions. So they have this kind of, this, inquiry kind of is innate in them. The spirit of inquiry is innate in them. So they do not accept things as they are. They do not take things at face value. So that is where they challenge convention. So they don't simply take things. And then paradoxes. Yes, there are so many paradoxes in life. I think I'm just looking at time. So let me just keep moving forward. There is so much more. And then modern thought, yes. So I was just telling you that, we have learned from this, from their system. So ancient universities, 64 subjects being taught. So we talk about, new subjects like nanotechnology or IoT or AI, cybersecurity, data scientists, and data science and all that. Yes, maybe these are different nomenclatures. They were also highly evolved, highly knowledgeable people. We know, you know, we build bridges today, we build buildings today, and then we know what happened during the recent floods and all that. So how they are not able to withstand the construction, but we see the architecture, we see the construction of our kings sometime in 10th century or much earlier, and they withstand all the fury, nature's fury. Okay, so the residential campus again is nothing new. They had residential campuses. In fact, I think Nalanda was about, I'm not very sure, I think it was 8 or 9 storied high or something. Can we ever imagine? And then when they came and burnt it down, when I'm not taking names. So when he burnt it down, of course, we also know that the station is still there in his name. So when he burnt it down, I believe it kept burning for years. So that was the amount of value there. So the library there was something which was sought after. People from all over the world descended there at Nalanda. So, and of course, Sharada also, Sharada University, Adi Shankara has traveled, Ramanuja, Sri Ramanujam has, I'm not talking about Srinivasa Ramanujan, the mathematician, I'm talking about Acharya Ramanuja. Okay, so the philosopher, the saint, this spiritual leader, they all went up to, to Sharada University in the north. Today it is not in India, it is in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. That university, that place, of course, it is all in ruins because everything was destroyed. Most of the ancient universities were destroyed, plundered, and all that. So they were residential campuses, and they had entrance exams also in those days. The entrance exams are nothing new. Around Nalanda, there were so many other universities or schools that taught students in, how to qualify, in the entrance exam that would be given at Nalanda, because not everybody qualified and not everybody was able to. It is probably, I would say that it is more than the IITs of today. So it was so difficult to get into those universities. And then they had foreign students, treasure trove of knowledge and wisdom. Yes, we know that. Okay. So now when we're talking of excellence, how do we get there? I think it's very important, first of all, to clearly lay out the expectations for our learners. So they should know what we are expecting, what we expect of them, what they have to do, what they should do. So the goal has to be clear. So only when we lay these expectations down, will they have a clear idea. I think all of you will be knowing. So we have the CDP today. Yes, so the CDP is nothing but, so you're telling them this is what we will do, these many classes. So this is what we aim at. So this is how the methods, these are the methods that we will be using. So again, which are the texts? What are, the other kind of, what else do you look for in them? So probably some kind of some assignments, takeaway assignments, or probably some projects, something like that, right? So again, so the expectations, it's important that, any subject that we teach, I think we have to tell them clearly what we expect of them, or what the subject, again, so what is expected, to be learned in that subject, or to excel in that particular field or chosen area, what they have to do. So I think that's a very important thing. And then we can promote excellence only, so when we are planning, so when we have a goal, when we have those expectations, we have to chalk out a plan. So why chalking out the plan? Here I would like to mention, so there is this, I think you can see the end of the screen. I have mentioned this person called Thomas Frey. Now Thomas Frey is a futurist. He came up, he was with IBM, And he just worked for 15 years in IBM. I mean, not just 15 years. I think I should say that he worked for 15 years in IBM. And then he left that in order to become, he has his own Da Vinci. Again, Da Vinci is coming here. Okay, so uh, Da Vinci, he has his own company, or you can say that, kind of institution which promotes futuristic development, futuristic thinking. And what is very interesting, we all know about Alvin Toffler and Alvin Toffler's future shock, and how Alvin Toffler shaped so many minds, so many of us, changed our outlook towards the future, on reading Alvin Toffler. Now, Thomas Frey has written, along with, I think about 49 others are there. I think totally about 50 authors have contributed to another book. It's like a sequel to Alvin Toffler's Aftershock, Future Shock, which is called Aftershock. So there, Thomas Frey, again, it's something very nice that he talks. He mentions that let us look at the present through, the lens of future. So he is not talking about being in the present and then looking at the future. No, he says first go to the future. First visit the future. So let us first visit the future. So let us be in the future and then visualize it. So vision of future is what he stresses on, Thomas Frey stresses on. So let us envision, the future. And then after envisioning the future, from that, let us upgrade the present. So it is as if we are using the future as a tool to upgrade or to modify, to modernize, to better, you can use any of these terms, the present. That's a very, I would say that it's very profound kind of thought, because I think today when we talk of AI, IoT and all that, AI is just changing the way we think. We all know how it is there, it is present around us. Netflix, Squid Game. I mean, we don't watch TV in our house. It's for 3 years, the TV has remained silent. So we don't ever watch, but then I read a lot. So I do read about how Squid Game has become a mania kind of thing, especially in India. And we also saw how, I think it's the Oxford Dictionary that included Korean terms into English. Yes, so we saw that also. So much of influence it has. Now, when we are talking about influence, AI plays an important role there. So it is able to influence us without a knowledge of it. Its unseen presence can be felt everywhere. I mean, we can feel it, though we don't see it. So Netflix, again, that's what they say, how youngsters are addicted to these series, because, the algorithm is so tuned that it just keeps beaming, watch this, do that. And then, it's like a web. What a beautiful name they have created for it. See, the web is something, it's a marvel. Yes, I'm talking about the spider's web. It is a marvel because, scientists are still trying to unravel the web. They are still trying to unravel, the ants' way of communication, how they travel, how they, communicate with each other, how elephants, how they utilize their trunks. These are things being studied by scientists so that we can use them. Okay. And we know that it is a marvelous thing, it is something beautiful, the web. At the same time, the web can spell doom for whatever, uh, is trapped, in it. So that is the end of life for that particular insect or animal, whatever it is. Similar, so also we have to be careful today with the current web that we have in our lives. So this web, Okay, so so-called www, whatever it is, or the internet, call it whatever it is, by whatever name. I think we have to be very careful, and we need to teach our children, how to. So when we are equipping them for the future, we also need to guide them as to how we have to use them. Professor Swaminathan was talking about us guiding them about other skills, okay, social skills, yes. Also, how to navigate technology. I think we need to kind of guide them there. So equip them for the future. So yes, here we would like to tell that, I mean, we all know that we can't teach them, for today. We have to teach them, to survive in the world of tomorrow. And that tomorrow is not just 1 month or 2 years or 3 years. Yes, of course, technology keeps changing like that. Yes, but then, so it's all the more difficult. So our job becomes more difficult because we have to equip them for this future, which is so volatile, which is so flexible, which is ever changing. Individual goals versus societal goals. Again, while defining the purpose, I think excellence can be aimed at only when we teach or we include in the learning process the importance of community, the importance of society. I think we all know about corporate social responsibility, CSR today. Every company knows about it. So also every individual has this responsibility. What are we going to do for the nation? Yes, so nation building also. So not just so society, when we talk of society, so first probably the family, then comes the neighborhood, then comes the community that we live in, then comes the society at large, the nation, and then the world. So global kind of learning we are talking about. So global aspirations again. So societal goals are very important. We have to infuse that, within the learning. And self-awareness, I think I touched upon this. It is 11:55. Okay. So we touched upon this earlier also. So self-awareness. So I told ancient times also they gave a lot of importance to this self-awareness, because unless and until one knows oneself, one can do no good to others. Yes, or we cannot do much for others. So we need to first understand ourselves. We need to first be balanced in outlook. So only when there is balance within can we, contribute to balance outside of us. So that is very important. So self-awareness is very important. I move on. So again, now talking of excellence in learning, once upon a time, everybody spoke about IQ. So IQ, intelligence quotient. The order is wrong. Sorry, it should first be IQ and then be EQ. So once upon a time, we spoke about intelligence quotient alone, but then we've come a long way from that. Today we are talking about emotional quotient, and after emotional quotient, we've come to social quotient. Yes, then we have creative quotient, and then we have two AQs. In fact, today after the pandemic hit us, so past 2 years we are talking of two AQs. Professor Murugan or Professor David, can we just take any answers? I'm sure all
Ma'am, tell me, ma'am.
Yes. No, can I invite answers from our friends about the AQs? I'm sure they are aware of AQs.
Yes.
If somebody can
Partic-
please.
Participants, you can answer through chat box.
Any answers, sir?
So, dear participants, you can chat Your answers.
Just for us to know that you are there. Whatever you are expecting in the classroom. Okay. So the AQ is nothing but the adaptability quotient, and today we are talking of the adversity quotient.
Ma'am, it's adversity, ma'am. Adversity question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. May I know who it is?
Ma'am, I am Dr. D. Sangini, ma'am, from CK College of Engineering,
Oh,
Kadalur.
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes. It is adversity quotient. So there is adaptability quotient as well as adversity quotient. Thank you. So we have moved on. So it is not about just being intelligent. Today we also have to be adaptable. We have to be flexible. We have to face challenges. So that is where adversity quotient comes. So we should, any workplace, it comes with a lot of challenges. All of us are teaching, yes. So do we say that we go from day one to day two to day three every day? Is it just a bed of roses? No, we do come up with problems or challenges. But then there lies, our ability to, withstand, to kind of face these things, to face these problems, to just quell these things. Yes, to quell our fears, the fears in our minds, and then to move forward, right? So that is where our resilience comes. Yes. So patience is important. So when we are talking of emotional quotient, when you're talking about social quotient, and even adversity quotient, all these. So what all these require are these characteristics, I would say, these qualities, characteristics, whatever we may call them. So patience, I think, is one of the topmost things. And all of us know how the younger generation is kind of lost on patience. I'm not saying that everybody is impatient, but then we see that, there is what they seek is instant gratification. I think that's very common today. That is why we can't even, I'm sure people who are as old as I am, or at least if you belong to at least 10 or 20 years, before the current generation, you will know, we had to watch a serial. So one episode would probably come this week, and the next episode would only be next week, not even next day. But today's youngsters cannot, they just cannot, hold it. They need to know the answers. They need to know what happened. And so they download the whole series, and back to back binge watching we have, right? So from one series to another, they go on night upon night. So that is wrong. What all this creates is lack of patience. So I think cultivating patience is a huge task in us. It's not easy. So first of all, we need to be patient in order to promote patience in our learners. So in order to build patience, okay, so that's very important. But excellence requires patience. We all know about Edison, how he failed so many times, and then so he was happy with those failures. He said, only because of so many failures was I able to succeed. So that is patience. So we have so many, I'm not going into it. Resilience, so it's 12 on the clock. Okay, so resilience again is important. I think adversity quotient, when we are talking about that, again, resilience, emotional quotient also, resilience is important, because we need to fight back. The pandemic has shown that humanity is resilient. Yes, we humans are resilient. We have been able to, come what may. Yes, it is a sad moment in history of life on earth. We have lost several near and dear ones, but we know we have kind of, been able to take it in our stride. We have put a fight against this. I think put a brave fight against COVID. So we are still fighting it. So resilience is all about, that fighting spirit, that, come what may, that the courage, the boldness in us, within us, that we are able to face any kind of problem, challenge, obstacle that comes our way. So COVID has taught us that all of us are resilient, endurance. Not all of us. Yes, there are some people who are still trying to cope with these things. Yes, and God help them. Endurance, and even students, we have to. So, our students, we do not know what is happening in their homes. So the background is not known to us. So we cannot judge a book by its cover is a famous quote, yes, a saying. So also our students, even our own colleagues, each one of us. So when we look at another person, there is so much deep within, there is so much behind that facade. So we need to understand that there is something beyond what we are seeing. And there again, I think that will develop our understanding of people. So if we understand that everybody is fighting a battle, we are fighting our battles, and so are the others. So we should have this kind of caring for one another, sharing and caring, okay, give and take kind of attitude. Endurance is linked to resilience. So the ability, endurance in the sense that resilience, how is it different? Different? Can anybody tell me how resilience is different from endurance? You can unmute yourself or you can put it on the chat. Anybody? Okay. Sir,
Tolerable until
yes, ma'am.
tolerable until setback, ma'am.
Which one?
Ma'am, the relationship between resilience and endurance.
Endurance. Okay. Until the setback. So after that, we don't tolerate, is it?
No, ma'am. We will tolerate
Okay. You are right.
pandemic. Pandemic we can take, ma'am.
Correct, correct. Yes, you are right. So resilience is about, the spirit of fighting, but then how long we fight, you are right. So until what level, until when, you are right, ma'am. Yes. So until when, that is endurance. So how long can we withstand? How long can we hold on? Thank you. Thank you for your answer. So that is endurance. So that fighting spirit, it's not enough if we have it. And when the time comes for it, see, because it is only during calamities, only during adversity that it deserts us. This kind of fighting spirit or this courage deserts us. Otherwise, this bravado is all there. Bravado is different from courage or boldness. Bravado is, just talking about these things, courage and other things. Yes. But then implementing it when the time comes, showing it when the time comes, that is endurance. So you are able to withstand it, endure it for long durations, forever. I mean, as long as we live, we should be able to endure, actually speaking. Yes. So promoting excellence, important thing, passion, knowledge. Yes. So how can you instill knowledge or how can you share? It's not instilling today, more than instilling. Okay. So how do we share knowledge or how do we share information with our students if there is no passion? So passion should be there in the learner as well as in the teacher. So both of us should be passionate. So it is passion that determines. I think some time ago when I was talking about Pranana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, so that is what I was telling. The whole being. So when we love doing something, for example, I love quizzing. So when I'm quizzing, I just forget everything else. I mean, nothing can divert my attention. So I love quizzing to that point. Or driving. Yes, I enjoy driving. So I'm sure each of you have your own pet peeves or you have your own, kind of things that you're passionate about. And when you do those things, nothing matters. Nothing else matters. So passion is that drive, that force that drives us towards excellence. Discipline, I don't think I need to even explain this. All of us as teachers know how discipline. So when you talk about values, discipline just, it's there. I mean, it's a given. So discipline is very important. For example, discipline right now, so time also I have to maintain. That is one of the disciplines that I should possess, time management. So discipline again. So as a teacher, when I am with my students, so what should I portray? How should I behave with them? So what do I expect from them? And then how do we tell them? So this is the discipline that you have to maintain, as a learner, as, a citizen, a global citizen. That also we have to teach them. Focus. Again, I was talking about Swami Vivekananda and his kind of photographic memory. So please excuse me. Focus. Yes. So that is the focus, concentration. Now, Swami Vivekananda, again, there are so many episodes, that bring to focus his focus, in the sense that I think all of us are also familiar. Once while he was meditating, and everybody in the hall, in the room, ran helter-skelter, except Swami Vivekananda. So he just did not move, because he was so focused in his meditation. Whereas meditation is so difficult. We will be in a state of meditation, but then our mind roams different lanes, different streets all around the world, or different avenues. So it's not easy to bring the mind to focus. We all know that. And to get our students to attention is more so difficult. So that focus, that concentration, which we have seen in great people, so all these great people have exhibited that. So that focus will naturally result in excellence. So that one pointed determination, one pointed focus, wherein nothing else. Even Swami Vivekananda, when he was in New York, I think also, I believe, he was going to the New York branch of the Vivekananda Institute or Ramakrishna Mission. You have their centers all over the world, and I believe it was a very we are right now in winter, so it was a cold winter, and it was not even soft snow that was falling, but again, so it was so snowy, so windy, I believe. But Swami Vivekananda just kept moving on, because he had to go, he had to deliver his lecture. He was just going unmindful of anything. He did not go, take probably shelter in a building or under a tree or anywhere. No. So his focus was to reach the place. That focus. I think we have so many, even Sir Abdul Kalam we had. What a I mean, I think we need such people. He again, I think when you talk of focus, attitude determines life. Sorry, just cut the call. Yes, so attitude determines life. So attitude, we all know, I'm not going to go deep into that. So we need to develop the right attitude in order to excel in whatever we are doing in learning here. Empathy today, it calls for, gone are the days when it was right to be selfish or whatever. No, it was never right to be selfish, of course. But then today we bring it as an important requisite. So today it is, if you don't have empathy, you don't fit into a workplace. You don't you're not a proper citizen. So empathy is beyond sympathy. So where you put yourself in the shoes of others. So it is, you place yourself actually, when I was talking a while ago, 12, 11. Okay, actually, when I was talking a while ago about how people are fighting their own battles, I think I related to this. So we need to look at everybody, from their point of view, not from our point of view. So our view is going to be colored by bias. Okay, colored by prejudice. So empathy is when we don't look at others from our own point of view, but from their eyes. So look at it from their angle. So empathy is important. Humility, I think Sir also, Professor Swaminathan referred to that. So how some people, just after getting the PhD or whatever, I've been here for, so my 25th year in teaching, but I would actually say that, I know nothing, because I look at people, you have a seventh standard student inventing something today. You have youngsters doing so much for the society. I have so many eminent colleagues, who do so much. So many of you may come under that, you may be doing such a great job. So where do I fit in the scheme of things? I feel like I'm a tiny speck. I'm referring to Carl Sagan's pale dot in the universe, the cosmos. I love astronomy also, beyond quizzing and all that. Yes. So, so I feel like that infinitesimal speck there in the universe. So no, we are nothing actually, because we are the sum total of everybody and everything. Again, I'm recalling to mind what Newton said. Yes, it's Newton who said that there is nothing. I'm not quoting verbatim. So he was the one who said that he is riding on the shoulder of giants who lived before him. So there were so many other scientists before him who paved the way, and all that knowledge, we talk about acquired knowledge, cumulative knowledge, collective consciousness, yes, consciousness and all that. So all this is there, and so from there we are building on. So yes, so we need to have humility in life. It's very important. And only when we are humble can we truly say that we are excellent. Courteousness, yes. Even when we teach our students to write their letters, I'm sure all of us know today, I don't know what is happening actually. There is some gap, communication gap. I have a very interesting quote towards the end. Uh, Somewhere, I don't know, there is this gap that is existing. They write to us, they write a mail, there is no salutation, nothing, dear ma'am or respected ma'am. We don't even want respected ma'am these days. So we just, at least if they say dear ma'am, it would be fine. So there's nothing. I will not be attending class today. So there won't even be a please sometimes. Sometimes we come across such emails even. Where is the etiquette? Where is the email etiquette? It is called as netiquette also, how you behave on the net. So that is called as netiquette. So all these things, where are they? Courteousness. Have we forgotten to say please and thank you, the small things, but then which matter a lot? I'm reminded of A.G. Gardner's essay on saying please, a very humorous and brilliantly written essay. So courteousness, humility, I think all these, when you talk of values, discipline, these are all part and parcel of an individual, what an individual should possess in order to be excellent. And we have to cultivate this in our students. Curiosity, I think I spoke about this already. Spirit of inquiry, so that is curiosity. We have to tap their curiosity. We have to make them commitment, yes. So 100% commitment should be there. Otherwise, what will happen is people will just lose interest. Now that again, it is linked to focus. Again, it is linked to patience and other things, commitment also. So passion and all these things are limited. So commitment is very important when it comes to excellence. Unless commitment is there, excellence cannot be achieved. So how do we do this? So this, I think all of us know. So observing, conceptualizing, and then doing. They observe us, then, so first of all, they look at us, they listen to us, and then they think. After thinking, so probably they, kind of reflect on it. And after reflecting on it, they form their own theory, they conceptualize it, and then they carry out it into action. So this is how it goes from teaching to learning. And so in this we have, so the classroom as a tool, we have the web as a tool. Then we can also promote this through internships, exchange programs, workshops, seminars, all these things. Yes, so this is where we have, the learner-centric kind of education today, experiential learning and all that. Yes, so the same thing here. So I've just made it a little more, I think, visual for you. So first observe, then think, reflect, conceptualize, and then they have to act. So what is important? I'm coming towards the end, a few more slides, that's it. So sense of oneness. So while promoting excellence, we have to be careful that we promote this global citizenship. So there is a bigger purpose. So we are not teaching, they are not learning just for a job tomorrow, just for maintaining a family, or just for some kind of reward, or maybe even some kind of accolade. Not for that. So there should be a kind of, so we are talking about unity in diversity. So I think this is linked to what I said earlier also, is putting ourselves in others' shoes, empathizing. So we is important, not I anymore. So we have to understand that anything that we teach, any project that we do, any workshop or anything, when the students are there, so we have to tell them that it should, out of that, there should be some common good. Out of that, there should be some kind of larger purpose. And when they work on a project, it should be useful to some people, at least a few people. Only then it serves its purpose. Again, collaborative workspace, I mentioned a little earlier. So the workspace of today is very different from the workspace of earlier years. We used to, especially, of course, uh, teaching fraternity, our workspaces are different. If you talk about, say, Google or Microsoft or IBM, where most of our students will be going to, or any other concern, even let it even be a startup, it's a very different atmosphere there. Some of them will be very open, flexible. Google is very flexible, of course. And then it is a collaborative workspace. Nobody can work in silos. Nobody can work as individuals. So we have to teach them, we have to foster the spirit of oneness, foster the spirit of togetherness. If you talk about it, this kind of team building skills. Okay, so that is very important. Otherwise, they will not be able to survive in the workspace. They have to collaborate with others. Even we collaborate with one another on projects and other things, right? So collaboration is the way forward. And so we can talk about something else also here, cultural intelligence and social intelligence. So cultural intelligence, I've mentioned about global citizenship. So we need to be, so we are talking NEP 2020 also talks about inclusion, taking education to every student's home, digitizing it, digitizing education, digitalizing education. Okay, and even UNESCO has this as its motto, that is inclusivity. So because I think at least around 1 billion students still do not have access to education in the world today. And they don't go to schools. So we have to be aware of these things. So we when we work in a society, we have to be culturally aware of what is happening there. And we work in a society which is beyond just the now and the here. So it breaks all kinds of barriers. So we should be so when I talk about empathizing, or when I talk about understanding, it is also understanding their culture. So cultural intelligence. Now, for example, I can look at people in the eye and talk in the West. But when I, in the East, I think all of you know, even if you ask your parents, your grandparents, or the way we grew up, if we look at a person in the eye and talk, it is not considered very mannerly, right? I mean, it's not very respectful. So we kind of, that servility kind of thing. But today it has changed in India. Yes, so we look at people in the eye and talk. But still there are certain cultures where it is not right to directly look at them in the eye and talk. Okay, so and then we talk about closeness. So we talk about space. Okay, so being aware of space again. So how close can we get to people and all that? So the cultural intelligence is a whole, I mean, we can have a whole seminar on that. Okay, so I'm not going into that. And social intelligence, I already touched upon that. Sorry, this is, oh, I have to go. Yes, so this is important. So in order to promote excellence, we have to be role models. Unless and until we are excellent in our own fields, we may not be able to promote excellence in our students. I'm again using the word may, because there are some students who may take things on their own, they may learn things, yes, okay, but then it is always advisable that as teachers we are role models, so they observe, they internalize from us. So while imparting, of course, this is from an ancient kind of scenario. So yes, so nobody is asked to sit so tight-fisted and all that today, so kind of arms across and all that. No, they can be flexible in the classroom of today, but then we have to be role models. That is important. I just thought I would quote this here. Education can do all. If I can demonstrate that man is, in fact, nothing more than the product of his education, I shall doubtless reveal an important truth to the nations. They will learn that they have in their hands the instrument of their greatness and their facility, and that to be happy and powerful, it is only a matter of perfecting the science of education. Now, this philosopher. He was a philosopher, okay, from 1715 to 1771. He lived, Claude Adrien Helvetius. So he talks about how everything hinges on education. Future society hinges on education. So he says that if you can perfect the science of education, everything can be achieved. So I thought that this was a tribute to us teachers. So what you are doing, maybe, yes, today people do recognize what we are doing. Yes. How many of our students will really become teachers? Not many, right? Yes, because we know that it is not that very lucrative. Maybe again, that bend of mind should be there for teaching. We all teach because for the love of it, we love teaching. Yes. So that again, so I think here, so there are people who understand that. Even I think one of the former presidents of Carnegie, that Carnegie Mellon Institute, Carnegie Foundation, it's very famous for AI, one of the Ivy League universities. So former president, he also mentioned how teachers have to be respected. Only then, there is future. So I thought I would include this quote for that. And again, so this is what ultimately, I didn't touch upon this till now, but it is there towards the end because it is most important. Knowledge, patience, everything that we have will or probably may not fructify into excellence unless we communicate effectively or properly. And this is a quote by John Maxwell. We hear half of what is being said, listen to half of what we hear, understand half of it, believe half of that, and remember only half of that. So, I think this is kind of true, because that 100% focus, 100% concentration, listening is kind of missing in many places today. So, with this kind of, and we know that our students today have less than, they talk about, the how long, you can sustain, how long you can sustain the interest of students in a classroom. So it is said that it's less than 8 seconds. Yes. So gone are the days. Once it used to be half an hour, then it became 20 minutes, then it became 18 minutes and all that. And then now they are telling that it is just seconds. I believe even the goldfish has more kind of, they also, can anybody give me the appropriate term for this? That's the last slide. Okay, so the listening quotient, if you take today, so it has come down to that. So, and here again, and knowing that, so I can't dwell beyond the time. So I would like to end with this. So all these are necessary for promoting learning. So we need these things, to work in tandem in order to bring about or promote excellence in our career, in the path of learning, I would say Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, Swadhayan Ma Pramadaha. So it means speak the truth, abide by your dharma, never be idle in your studies. Now, this was what was taught to, this was recited to students by the ancient acharyas. We are not acharyas, we are teachers, they were acharyas. So they would tell this to their students on the day of convocation. Again, convocation is nothing new. So when the student would leave the ashrama, when he would go into the world, so this was told to the students. So speak the truth, abide by your dharma, never be idle in your studies. That's very important. We should not let our minds to be idle. Thank you all for your patient listening. I thank Professor Murugan for giving me this opportunity, wonderful opportunity to be able to address you all and participate in this FDP. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, madam. I was looking for one word for this session, and one of the participants, she shared a word saying enlightening session. That's how it was. So thank you so much, ma'am. So we had the session on promoting excellence in learning by Dr. Vinata Sai, Associate Professor, Amrita University.
The questions.
Yes. If you have any questions, I request the participants to unmute themselves and you can ask the guest. You can also type it in the chat box and I can read it for you.
Definitely, questions are welcome. Too lengthy for them? Probably, I don't know. I hope I delivered the goods, because it's a talking on excellence. Anybody feel free to ask anything if you want.
Ma'am, there's a question. Can you throw brief information on Dharma? Okay.
Dharma is what is required, basically. So we talk of, the I doesn't figure there at all. So what has to be done according to the situation, according to probably the profession. So what needs to be done, that is dharma. So what is right according to that. Again, yesterday was actually Gita Jayanti. So, that again, it has so much about dharma there. So what Krishna says is this. So just do your duty and leave the rest. Okay, so things will just fall in place. So we can't expect the results. I'm not quoting that verbatim karmanyevadhikaraste, that particular shloka there. So dharma is what is expected to be done, what is expected of us. That is dharma, what is right. Of course, I'm no great scholar. My limited knowledge, I think.
It is like a responsibility, ma'am.
Yes, our responsibility. Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. There's one more question. What are the ways to improve the learning from student and staff side?
I think every moment accords such learning situations for us. Students, from colleagues, we can learn things. I improve is to be aware. So not just self-aware, aware of things around us, to, have the our antenna up, and then to invite other people's opinions, because we love to talk, we don't like to listen much. So if we listen, if we are aware of what is going on around us, and if we give people, if we give them the pace, if we give them the opportunity to express themselves, then we will find that they have something probably to contribute, for us. They have something is there in the take for us there. So improving is consciously we have to do this, and that is when we are humble, and that is when we realize that everybody is good enough, when we realize that everybody has something. So I cannot I cannot talk to you thinking that or say thinking that everybody is a dud or everybody knows nothing. No, you may know more than me, in fact. So maybe I just got this opportunity. That is how I view. So we have so much to learn in life. So Ms. Revati ma'am, I would like to tell you that every moment affords opportunity to learn. So it's whether we take it or leave it. I hope I've answered.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions from participant side? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So thank you all for joining us. So we have come to the end of session 2 of day 3. Next session will be at 1:15 p.m. Session 3 of day 3. It will be on creating a learning culture by Dr. K. Ganesan, Executive Council Member of ISTE Tamil Nadu section. So we will leave for now and we'll come back again at 1:15 p.m. at the same link. So I request you all to stay back if possible. Thank you so much.